what a fun year for the Kansas Jayhawks in 2022. A 6-7 season, started off strong, maybe didn't end how they wanted, but it was still an improvement from the team that we've seen in the past. And Lance Leipold has done a great job of getting this program to reach new heights. And I think they could do even better in 2023. We're going to talk about 10 guys today that will make that happen. We'll start with the offense. Quentin Skinner is a big time playmaker who I think takes a step forward in 2023. 6'5", 195 pounds. If you watch what he did against TCU, you would see a player that is set to have a huge year. And that is something that will help this offense quite a bit. The passing attack taking a step forward could mean big things. Now, obviously, the offense should be just fine with what they have returning. But if Quentin Skinner is a feature in this offense, you're going to see a ton of big plays, a ton of explosive plays, and this offense will once again be an extremely difficult group to stop. The defense is where they need to improve. Rich Miller comes back and was a solid playmaker for this defense, a defense that, again, has to take a step forward, has to be more consistent, provide more stops, and be able to help this team improve. And that's something that will be on the front seven. The secondary has plenty of talent, though they do need to improve as well. But this is a defense that, again, holds a lot of power in how good Kansas can be. Maybe not a conference championship team, but still a team that could compete with some of the best teams in this conference. And again, the offense won't be too much of a concern. Mason Fairchild also comes back after a 443 yard, 6 touchdown season. 6'4", 260 pounds. So he brings good size to both the passing game and the running game. And that's another guy to keep an eye on. Maybe an underrated piece of this offense because most people aren't going to pay attention to the tight end position. They won't realize that they need to focus on the tight ends that they bring back. And this is a solid group. I think that they'll be an X factor for this offense, an X factor for the passing attack. And this passing attack will be good for Kansas for multiple reasons. And one of them is going to be keeping this defense up to speed and testing this secondary, and having those talented players in practice every week will only make this secondary better. Romello Dotson comes back and he can be a good playmaker. 2 interceptions last year, 54 tackles. He can do what Kansas needs them to produce. And I think that this secondary should be better. Now they're going to get tested. You're facing quite a bit of talent in the Big 12. You're still facing a number of you. Texas specifically will give anybody nightmares, but that is just one team of many that has. This is a really good group of pass catchers, and when you have some in your own team that can help you in practice, guys like Dotson should take a step forward. One of those receivers we already talked about in Quentin Skinner. Another one is Lawrence Arnold, a player who has good size at 6'3", 230 pounds. So they have good size at the wide receiver position, and they have talent that's going to help this defense as well. So 716 yards for Arnold last year, 4 touchdowns, another guy who could take a step forward. I think you're going to see someone have 1,000 yards receiving, and some of that hinges on what the quarterback position does. But this is still a group that is extremely talented, a group that is extremely fun to watch, and could only get better in 2023. The running attack will also be a group to pay attention to. Devin Neal flew under the radar last year. He is a player who had 1,000 yards, but you probably didn't know it unless you were paying attention to the Jayhawks consistently. I really like what this rushing attack can do, not only because of Neal, but because of what the quarterback position returns. But Devin Neal is someone who deserves more love than he's getting. Someone who, again, 1,000 yards is no joke. And the fact that he did it at Kansas last year says a lot about where this program is going. And a lot of that also stems from the offensive line. Mike Nowitzki, who came with Lance Leipold from Buffalo, returns for one final season, and he is a leader on this offense. Not only just the offensive line, but he knows what is expected of this team. He is a big reason why this culture has changed and why Lance Leipold has had so much success. He's going to get some new guys up to speed. He's going to continue to create opportunities for the rushing attack and keep his quarterback upright, and that will be huge. And the offense will do its job, like I said. The defense is where we really need to see the improvement. And the secondary specifically, this was a group that struggled defending the pass, which is kind of interesting considering the number of players they have returning. But a guy like Kobe Bryant isn't someone you should have to really worry about. Kobe Bryant is a playmaker who wasn't tested as much as some of the other guys because eventually he showed that you probably just don't want to throw it to his side. 3 interceptions last year, 9 passes defended. He is a good playmaker for this secondary, someone that's going to help this secondary get better. Defending the pass will be a much easier, hopefully, for this team. The other guy we'll talk about is Kenny Logan, a player who maybe for people within the Kansas circles took a step back last year in terms of his play. Now, he still had 106 tackles. He still had 5 passes defended, 2 interceptions. He still put up numbers. I think one thing in Kenny Logan's defense, you don't need your safety making 200 tackles the last 2 years. You simply don't. That means that he's mopping up a lot of plays that the front seven is letting through, and that's something that needs to change. This is a group that needs to be more disruptive. This is a group that must find ways to improve, and Kenny Logan should benefit more when he's not expected to make a ton of plays to help guys that are not doing their job up front. And if the defense can take a step forward, that means the offense will only have an even better effect on this season. Jalen Daniels comes back after a monster season for him, or breakout season, really. If he is fully healthy and stays in the entire year, you're going to see him improve from last year. When you look at what he did, especially the beginning of the season, this was someone who at times was unstoppable. 2014 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, also took care of the football with just 4 interceptions. He's good with his legs too, 425 yards and 7 touchdowns. Again, this team is in a good position. This team is going to be fun to watch. Lance Leipold has done a phenomenal job of getting Kansas back to just even the middle of the Big 12. That is something that they should be proud of. And now they're looking to take a step forward. Again, probably not a conference championship, but they will give everybody a tough time in 2023.